Hey there, everybody. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it as always. This is part 3 in my series on making a counter height chair. And I have to tell you, there will be a part 4, but that should be it. I should be able to finish this project in 4 parts. As you can see, in fact, the chair is now glued up. That's what it is behind me. So once the glue dries, all I have to do is finish shaping the joints, sanding the project down, applying a finish, and that sort of thing. But you'll recall in part 2, when it ended, I was about to cut the mortises in the legs and in the armrest to install them. So that's where part 3 begins, me installing the armrest. So with that, hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. Okay, so here are the blanks that are going to make up the armrests. As you're sitting in the chair, this is on the right-hand side, this is the left-hand side. And this half-inch piece of stock on both arms will be part of the joint transition as the front of the armrest attached to the front legs. And I've already marked out for this right side here where the top of the leg, front leg, intersects this piece, and also where the back leg attaches. So what I need to do now is lay out the tenons. I'm going to put here, probably in this direction, I'm thinking. That makes the most sense. Give them the leg shape. And likewise in this direction. And once I lay out this leg, I will make this one identical to it. And then go ahead and cut the mortises on both the arms and the legs and check the fit. Okay, so now I have marked on each armrest where I'm going to cut the mortises for the tenons, one to attach to the front leg on each armrest and one each to attach to the back leg. I'm going to use an 8 by 40 millimeter domino as a tenon, and I put the narrow stock attachment on the domino joiner. Have it set up. So yeah. Now first I'm going to cut the mortises on the armrest to attach to the back leg. And since I already have the depth and reference point on the domino joiner set for the armrest, I need to keep these settings and cut the matching mortise on the back of each leg. Okay, so I have cut the mortises in the front and back legs, each of them, and the matching mortises in the blanks for the armrest. So this is now all dry fit together. So now what I'm going to do is attach some half-inch pieces of cherry to the legs down where the stretchers are going to go, similar to what I've done up here. That will be part of the joint as I shape them together. Okay, so The next thing I need to figure out is what I want the armrest to look like. I need to figure out what I want the top and front view to look like, and then I will shape it, the front accordingly. So what I've done is I cut a couple of pieces of wiggle wood that one will be the top view and one will be the side view. I'm going to trace those out and do rough cuts on the bandsaw for those shapes and then smooth them out. I have my curves here. So I need to draw something out that looks decent and go with it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is note the back here where the armrest starts. That's 1.25 inches is the width of the back leg. I know there needs to be a transition off of the back leg and back rest. Plus there's a tenon in there. So I need to start coming in about there, I think. And I want to curve out pretty soon. And I want to go in about 1/2 inch at the front of the armrest, I believe. No, I'm going in 3/4 inch at the front. So I need a nice curve of a transition from here to there. That looks good. That way I know I won't be cutting into the tenon at the back of the leg, and it still leaves enough of a transition from the top of the bottom leg into the armrest. So that's going to be on the inside, and on the outside. Need to go from there and figure out how I want the outside to look. Oh, 2 5/8. I think if I keep the maximum width I can up to 7 inches, that looks good. I know I'm going to round these things, but that'll look good. And then just curve it back, or maybe go like this. Let's see here. Just to add a little more interest to it. Yeah, let's look at this and see what it looks like. It's going to go like that. And then that. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see what this looks like. I like it. And then just round over the ends to something that looks normal or decent. I think that'll look nice. Not too crazy, but in keeping with the design. Now the side. What should the side look like? I do want to come down just a little bit, not too much of a dip from the back leg, and then back up, and then kind of curve down a little bit there. So let's see. But again, I have that tenon, so I'm not going to start doing that curve to right about there. Let's see. Half of the tenon is inside of the armrest, so that's a good safe distance. I only have about this much to play with from the transition from the top of the leg. And I can round it. There you go. I like that look. So now what I have to do is cut these out on the bandsaw and shape them out. I'm using wiggle wood so that I could, oops, I'll crack this. I can apply it to the remainder of the leg or the armrest as it's being cut, so I can keep tracing it out before ultimately sanding it. So, all right. Okay, I have cut out the patterns on the bandsaw. I changed the blade from what I was resawing earlier. So I've cut the patterns out, I've smoothed them out. Now I'm going to trace them onto each arm, the top and side view, and then start the process of cutting at the bandsaw. Oops. Okay, so now I will start cutting out the armrests. I decided to get a little more aggressive with the shaping. And yeah, brought this guy out again. Does do a good job. I'm good at taking out the bumps. I'm gonna have to sand some more, I know, but looking good. A lot more shaping, but okay, so I was down in the shop looking at my chair, and I just don't like the way the armrests look, how I've shaped them. Just look a little weird. I think what I need to do let's add a little more of a profile here. Continue this down. And then maybe add a bit of a dip for the wrist. So that's how I'm going to try with my grinder. Okay, so I've done a little more shaping with the armrest, but what I want to do now is I want to mark up some points on the seat. I'm going to do a little more shaping of the seat, and I've added this material down here, 1/2-inch pieces down here on the legs. That'll be part of the transition for the stretchers. I want to go ahead and cut the mortises for the stretchers, because I think once I get the seat shaped a little more closely to what it's going to look like finally, and add the stretchers, that'll help me visualize better what I want to commit to in terms of the shape of the armrest. So I'm going to work on that now. One other design element that I want to try and incorporate into my chair is the arched cutouts here on the bottom of the seat that I know we often see in Sam Maloof style chairs. Even though my chair is going to still be kind of square, I don't think that'll look too far out of place. And again, for my design, and again, I kind of like it, so I want to try to incorporate it. So here's the center line of the seat. I've gone in from the edges the same distance as the legs. So I want to kind of do something right here. Not too severe, but noticeable. So that's pretty close. This will work. Close enough. And I know I said in my little video on use of the joiner never to do this, but in this case, I have to, just to see where I'm setting the piece down. So, an exception. Okay, what I'm going to do now is work on the stretchers for the chair. So I'm about to cut mortises in each of the legs that'll hold the stretchers in place. I've already rough cut the stock, and the stretchers in the front and back are going to be 1 1/4 inch square, and this one going from front to back is going to be 2 inches by 1 1/4. What I'm going to do now, again, is I'm going to cut the mortises in the legs to receive an 8x40 domino. And then I'll put the chair back together, dry fit it, and confirm the lengths of the members for the stretcher. Then I'll go ahead and cut the stretchers to length, then cut those mortises, put the chair back together to see how it looks. Okay, so I have the stretchers between the front and back legs installed and dry fitted. And I've attached some transition pieces there, similar to this, 1/2 inch thick for the joint. But I've decided to make another design change. This piece going from front to back was supposed to be 2 inches wide. But when I put it on there with the legs being 1.25 inches wide, it just looked weird to me. It looked like that member was too big. So I cut it down to 1.25 inch square. So now all 3 members are the same dimensions. So I'll go ahead and measure this to length, cut mortises in the end, and then when those transition pieces dry, I'll do the same thing on those and put it back together. And while that is drying, what I'm going to do now is work on the armrests. So I've kind of roughed out what I think I want the armrest to look like. I have the left armrest in here now. What I'm going to do is sand it a little bit, try to smooth it out, get it to where I think I want it to ultimately be, and then I will work on the right armrest to match it. Close. I will obviously need to do more before it's finished, but I'm feeling good about it. Okay, now that I feel like I'm getting closer to the finished product, I want to do a little more rough sanding or shaping of the seat. And this is I'm going to use this little die grinder that I got off of Amazon to help me do that. I figured this would be much more efficient than just sandpaper to rough shape it, similar to the grinding discs that I use, and then I can go on and sand it to smooth it out. Probably should be doing this outside. I'm going to try it inside. Hopefully it won't make as much dust, but I'm going to put on my dust mask for this, just in case. Okay, so the glue was dry enough on those stretchers, the spacer units, for me to go ahead and cut the mortises. So what I want to do now is put together the chair and take a look at it, just so that I can kind of think overnight and figure out what my next move needs to be. But pretty close to finish, so let's put it together and see what it looks like. Okay, so I know I'm getting close to the glue up phase of this project. And I suspect that given the type of design or the style of this chair, that there's going to be a fair amount of filing and sanding to be done even after I get finished gluing it up. So I figured what I would do now is do some preliminary shaping of joints. One, to help me get through the learning curve of making this type of furniture using this tool. And also I figure if I really screw something up, I can remake it. before it's glued together. Let's see what happens.